Hey gang, welcome into the Bowtie Radio podcast. I'm your host, Gene Volpe, with YourRealEstateConcierge.com and GeneVolpe.com. We're excited to be coming at you live. Well, not really live. We're streaming, and it's taped. This is a podcast, but we're excited about it. This is going to be a way for us to get our information out to you on a weekly and monthly basis. We're real excited about getting our knowledge of the industries out and helping you folks really just better your business and get to a point where you're happy and productive. And we're going to have some really good nuggets, some good guest interviews moving forward in this program. And we hope you'll, stay tuned and listen in on a weekly basis or whenever we put these bad boys out, because we love having you. So this one here, this podcast, I think what I really wanted to do for the first one, the inaugural, man, I can't even say that word, the inaugural podcast, I give you a little bit of info about me. I'm going to be your host moving forward, and I think outside of listening to this smooth operator, you're going to want to know what it is. What are my qualifications? Why is it that you're going to tune in on a weekly basis and listen to what I have to say? So I'm going to bore you to death over the next couple of minutes. I'm going to give you a little bit of background, tell you who I am, where I came from, what I've done, how I got here. And really more importantly than that, but what are you going to get out of it and why does it matter to you moving forward? So, like I said, I'm your host, Gene Volpe. And you can check me out on GeneVolpe.com or YourRealEstateConcierge.com. Throughout the course of this podcast, where there's going to be multiple ways for you to contact us, but the easiest are going to be at my Twitter handle at Gene Volpe, or you can hashtag Bowtie, being that this is the Bowtie Radio, and you can probably see behind me, if you're watching the video that goes along with the podcast up and over my left shoulder, you see the Bowtie, and then we're going to be talking about some of that stuff as we move forward. That's the branding that we put out and we help a lot of our clients with. Branding is important when it comes to your business and being online and social media and all the buzzwords you're hearing about. So let's get back. So this podcast itself is going to cover a couple different elements, namely 3 elements, I think. We're going to talk a lot about business, structure, and marketing. We're going to talk about health. We're going to talk about family. There's a lot of elements of this that come together, and they really feed into each other, I'll get into some stories when I had some stories with one of my coaches, Coach Ed Fordyce, helped me through some big things. You're probably seeing me on video now. I'm in much better shape than I was 2 years ago. I was high blood pressure and all that good stuff. So there's a lot of things that play into that circle of success, and there are some of them: marketing yourself, health, family, business, being a good business person, which even today, after all these years as an entrepreneur, I still struggle with certain elements of it, but I know where my weaknesses are, and we're going to go through a lot of that stuff as we move forward. I think this podcast is going to be fun. I'm not politically correct in a lot of cases, so I think it can be edgy at certain times, but it's definitely going to be informative, and it's definitely going to help you move forward in your business. And if you take little points that we're going to give you moving forward, it's going to help blow your business out of the water. If you stay consistent with it, you're going to hear me say that word a ton when we go through these things. Consistency is going to be a big, big element of that. Staying consistent on the things that you do, staying consistent on the time that you approach them. All those things are important. So hopefully I can stay consistent with this podcast and visit you every week and give you some good stuff. So back to me. I know a lot of people would say this is my favorite subject, but in fact, I actually hate talking about myself. But I'm going to give you some info. Let's go all the way back to 1975, right? And this year, it's going to hurt me to say this. In about 2 weeks, I'm turning 40. Oh, God, that hurts. But in any case, actually, I'm really probably in the best shape of my life, to be honest with you. So I feel really good, to be honest. And 40 is just a number. It doesn't really bother me. I'm just kidding. But back in 1975, I was born to Lorraine and Gene Volpe. My father was a Philly firefighter. I grew up in Philadelphia. I'm out in the western suburbs now, but I'm still a Philly boy, true and true, as you could probably hear in my pitch, my tone, and the way that I don't have a G at the end of any of my words. So you're going to see when I'm talking about, what were you doing last week? Well, we were looking at houses to stay at. No, it's looking, not looking. But anyway, so born to a Philly firefighter who succumbed to leukemia in 1995. Actually, another big milestone for me this year. This is 20 years that my father's been gone. I'm the oldest of 6. I have 5 wonderful brothers and sisters. I'm going to go in order: Lorraine, Teresa, Stephanie. Who's that? What's his name? Paul, my brother Paul, and of course Nikki. And I'm kidding about that. Paul, if you're listening, I was just joking, man. I remember your name. But anyway, I'm the oldest of 6. I was 19 when the old man passed. He was diagnosed when he was 39, which is what I am right now. So this is actually a big year for me. I've always wanted to get out of the 39 age range so I can get to 40 and say, I passed that without getting the big C. So this is an important year, and if I can hold off for just another 16 days. Oh, by the way, March 19th is the birthday, so feel free to have the gifts coming. I'm just going to put that out there for you as well. So if I make it a couple more days, I will get through my 39th birthday without the same fate as my father. So I'll be happy about that, no question. So he was diagnosed at 39. They believe that he contracted leukemia from breathing burning benzene at a fire down on Cobbs Creek back in probably 1993, I think was the date. So it goes all the way back. I remember that because there were all kinds of things with the city and investigations and all that stuff. So he fought fires for about 23 years before he died. He was 44 when he passed away. Fought it for 5 years. Spent some time out of state with my mom, actually, when we were younger. When I was about 18, they spent, I think, about 9 months in South Carolina, the University of South Carolina. And the reason for that was because this was my father's second go-around with cancer. He had been in remission for about 2.5 years. My sister Lorraine was a close enough match to be able to donate her bone marrow to her, which I, to this day, still don't know how she did it. I give her a lot of credit for that. But she was able to donate her bone marrow. He was in remission for about 2 years. Some of my memory's a little off, I'm sure. But relapsed and basically went in to see the doctor, and the doctor said to him, Ed Statmauer, actually was the doctor at University of Penn, I believe was the one that gave him the information, and said to him, well, we can send you home to be comfortable, or, and obviously my father didn't care what the or was. The or was what he wanted. So he wasn't going home to die. He wanted to kick it a little bit longer. And so they were doing an experimental program in South Carolina where they were going to take his own bone marrow, clean it, put it back into his body, and hopefully that worked. Oddly enough, I don't think it worked. And my sisters will probably call me after this airs and tell me I got it all wrong. But in any case, what I remember is that it was working pretty well. But because of what they were doing to his body with all the medication, his liver couldn't handle it anymore, and he died because of liver failure. So there's that. My mother, one of the most wonderful women in the world, died in 2009 after a long life without my dad. Luckily, she had a bunch of wonderful children, myself excluded. Bunch of wonderful children that stood by her side until she passed. That was pretty sudden. 2009, she went into the hospital January 1st for an issue. March 3rd was her last day. So just it was a little under 3 months she fought it, had a couple surgeries, just never rebounded from it. There were a lot of things. I won't go into them. I think we're getting too morbid already. Started out with a bunch of deaths. There's got to be some good stuff here, Gene. I'm not going to keep listening. I know, I get it. And believe me, there's going to be plenty of good stuff. But the important element of that is that a lot of what's happened in the past has shaped who I am today, and a lot of things you'll hear me say is based off of those experiences. So, fast forward. I now have 9 nieces and nephews. I'm married to the love of, I shouldn't say I have 9 nieces and nephews. My 2 beautiful girls are in that 9. My mother would have had 9 grandchildren. And we're still growing, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm done. I don't know how my wife feels about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm finished. I don't know if my brothers and sisters are finished. My 2 youngest brothers are just getting started in their lives, so who knows what's in it for them. But 9 grandchildren. I have a 10-year-old, actually not yet, but in 3 days, she will be 10, and I will have 26 10-year-old girls sleeping in my basement as her party. So if you pray, just include me in those thoughts, if you wouldn't mind. I would really appreciate it because I'm going to need it come Thursday night. Wow, I'm married to the love of my life, my best friend, Dana Lynn. I met her the last day of my 8th grade year with no shirt on, And I think she'd probably tell you that I spent the majority of my teen years with no shirt. It's a little different today, obviously. As you can see, I'm fully clothed. Well, at least if you're watching the video again, I'm clothed at least from the waist up. God only knows what's going on underneath the desk. But in any case, I am fully clothed. What a terrible visual I just gave you, and I apologize. But in any case, you'll hear that from me a lot too. I am the proud father of 2 wonderful girls, happily married. I say happily married. My wife might not be, but I'm happy with where I am. Like I said, I'm in the western suburbs of Philly. I have a long history when it comes to information technology. I'm somewhat of a geek, although I've been out of it long enough where I can't really fix anything anymore, but I certainly can break a lot of things. I'm like your test guinea pig. So you need me to break something, I could do that all day. Fixing it and putting it back together has become a little bit more difficult for me as time has gone by, but I have enough resources within me and within my network that we can get that stuff fixed for you. So if you ever have a problem, don't call me, call your IT guy. 2007, I stepped out of the IT world to become a real estate investor, which had its ups and downs, mostly its downs. We got caught in some bad business, not bad business dealings, but bad business decisions. I think we were too new. We stepped out of an arena where everything was given to us because we had a job and the paychecks came. And I'm only going to speak for myself. I made a ton of mistakes. And, this is a huge element for me. I get this a lot. Like, people say to me, why do you get off? Where do you get off talking to me about how to do things? Where does your expertise lie? You're not the richest guy on the planet. And, all that stuff is relative. But here's what I can tell you. I've learned enough by making all the mistakes that I've made to be able to help you and tell you what not to do. That's where my keys lie. I can help you with a lot of different things. I've learned a lot of little nuggets and some information specific to marketing and real estate and business development and all that good stuff. And I got a lot of really good pointers and keys to that. But where I think I excel is being able to help you avoid making the mistakes that I made. And that's really, I think, if you listen to this program, that's what you're going to get out of this long term. And I hope it saves you some money and some heartache and some knocks at the door that maybe you weren't expecting or don't want. So that's really where I come into this. 2007, I left Verizon business as a manager of their wide area and local area networking. For you geeks out there, you get that. For folks that don't understand the IT world, that's just basically a nice way of saying we handled the networks for big, large companies throughout the world. Their data networks, and I'm not going to bore you with that stuff. We can get into that in another show. Fast forward to 2009, I stepped into a different world, which was we were in the real estate world, and part of what we always wanted to do is the objective was when you are at a real estate settlement, it seemed like the folks that were the most wealthy were the ones that were making the money from each part of the transaction. So somebody had ownership in a title company, somebody was the real estate agent, somebody was on the mortgage side making their interest and their fees up front, and somebody was a buyer, and somebody was a seller, and there was a title company and all that good stuff. Our thought was the more of those companies that you owned or had a part of around the table, the more wealthy you'd be. So each real estate transaction had 10 to 15 to 20 players in it. If you were making little pieces of money from all 10 of those people, you were going to be better off than if you were just sitting there as a real estate agent or just as the title company. So one of the things that we got into, amongst many others, was a video marketing company where we would take photos and videos of real estate properties for sale for real estate agents. So video tours, basically. High-definition video tours, not these pictures that move around to music, but actually true video where you can get a real walk-through view of the house and how it's really laid out. So you see the fans moving and the pool rippling and the fire crackling and all that good stuff. But more importantly, you would see where is the laundry room in relation to the bedroom, or how do I get in from the garage on a rainy day when I'm carrying groceries. And so the walkthrough gave you a real good view as to what the home really looked like, the flow of the home. And we started off with that. That was 4 or 5 years ago. We were really early on the scene. It was tough for us. We struggled through it. We've gone through a lot of iterations, built out a bunch of different platforms to host the videos and social media marketing and all that good stuff. Fast forward even further to today, while I was doing the real estate stuff, I was in contact with a lot of real estate agents and brokers. I've made a ton of relationships with a lot of them. And one of the things that I found is that my IT background with Verizon merged really well with the real estate industry and where marketing was going for real estate. So if you're a real estate agent or if you're in any business, you know that these days marketing is making a hard push. Not that you shouldn't do print anymore, because print works in a lot of ways as long as you're doing it right. But there's a hard push towards the internet. Everybody's on Google. Everybody knows the word Google. It's in the dictionary right now, right? So there's a lot of things now, a lot of nuances that I had the expertise in, but in the real estate world, I'm just going to call a spade here. The real estate agents aren't technical in most cases. So, and not only that, but if you're running your business right, you shouldn't be behind a computer as a real estate agent. You should be out shaking hands and kissing babies. So my expertise, I felt, filled a void or a niche in that area. And so we built a company, Your Real Estate Concierge, around the fact that if you're a good real estate agent, you're going to probably offload some of this digital marketing and branding and website development and social media management and all that good stuff. You're going to offload that to somebody, and why not that be us? So that's sort of how this started. Man, I just talked your ear off for 16 minutes. I didn't think I was going to have enough content. I hope I didn't bore you to death. But in any case, we're going to start to wrap this up. I'm excited about this new venture. I think that it's going to give me the vehicle and the format to get my information out there for you to take as you please. Hopefully you'll listen, you'll like it, you get a chuckle out of it, it'll make you smile a little bit. Each week we're going to touch on something a little different. We're going to bring in guests as we move forward in this program. I got a lot of people. There's so many good people in this industry that really just know what they're doing and have unique avenues and tactics to make their business better. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, this audience, probably Your Real Estate Concierge, is a marketing and development company for real estate agents and brokerages and people in the real estate field for the most part. But all this stuff applies to any business. I mean, when you're talking about Facebook and Twitter and website design and driving traffic and search engine optimization, all these other things you're hearing out in the marketplace today, it doesn't really matter if you're a pizza owner or an audio-visual company or a doctor's office for that matter. These things all apply, because here's what happens. Everybody's starting their search in most cases online. I say everybody, I'm qualifying that, right? Not everybody, but most people. We'll go through a lot of statistics on this show that'll prove to you that this stuff works and where you should put your money and where you shouldn't put your money and all that good stuff. And in most cases, you don't have to believe me. It's actually just fact and data. I'm not making any of this stuff up. Where I have a lot of opinions. Some of them you won't agree with. Some of them you may. I'll let you know when it's an opinion, but when you hear me spew out data and facts, you're going to know that that's hard content from somebody who's given that to me that knows the field. And so when I tell you stuff like 94% of people are starting their home search online, that's not because I went out and polled 100 people and 94 told me they start their search online. That's because the National Association of Realtors gave me that information, and I'm just using that to my benefit. Online marketing is one of the cheapest, most effective ways that you can market if you know how to do it the right way. And so why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Well, when I give my presentations to agents, I always say to them, does anybody know how much it costs to market on Facebook? And now, will they take your money? Absolutely. But for you to have a presence, and we're going to talk about how much this is a resume builder, as much a resume builder as it is an actual marketing tactic in future episodes. But it's important that you're on Facebook and you're on Twitter and you're on places that people are searching for you on and Googling you for. If I Google somebody today that I'm going to think about doing business with, and I see they don't have any social media presence, it's just a flag for me. I got to ask myself why. And if you're a business owner, you don't want people asking why. You just want them coming back to your website to see the services you have. And Facebook and Twitter and those other areas, and a good website or a video, good photos, a lot of good artwork. Consistency across your brand. I could go on, and I will go on. So, again, this has been the first episode for us on Bowtie Radio. We're excited to be here with you. Remember, you can reach out to us at #Bowtie on any of social media sites. We're going to start doing questions and answers, too, through the #Bowtie. Also, you can reach out to me directly at Gene Volpe on Twitter. And you can always visit us at genevolpe.com or yourrealestateconcierge.com. I look forward to doing this with you once a week. I hope you get as much out of it or half out of it as I do. And until next week, thanks for tuning in.